You say that mainstream liberal democratic post-political parties pick the populist right anti-immigration parties as their opposition in, I suppose, at the expense of the radical left. What happens when there's a mainstreaming of that populist right anti-immigration argument, whereby they become part of the liberal democratic post-political mainstream?
In the oil spill example, you argued for radical democratic mobilization, but those things seem to depend on the institutions of a democracy, which you kind of dismissed at the beginning. So I wondered if you can just talk about that for a bit.
How can this new left protect itself from aligning itself, as it so often does, with right-wing forces that are coming out of, say, the Middle East or many Islamic countries at the moment?
I think if I understood correctly, there was some contradiction in your, to say the least, in terms of how you approach the environmental issue.
Yeah.
That you referred to changes in Serbia and the sub-Saharan changes. And then you said that environmental living, pro-environmental living was superstitious. So I'm not sure whether on one hand you trivialized it, and on the other hand you indicated towards the major changes that could occur.
So I'd like to know how you differentiate these four horsemen from Derrida's list, Inspectors of Marx, which you severely criticized and quoted. So I'd like to know how you differentiate these two lists.
Okay. No, it's fine, please.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to add one of my own. It's very short, so it's just like a footnote, okay? You say, in halfway through your talk, quote, only a strong dose of the left will save liberal prudence. Got it right, you said it. Only a strong dose of the left will save liberal prudence. What is the symbolic value of the left here? What is, given all the heritage, given your problems with the traditional left, the social democratic left and so on, how are we to read the left in this context?
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
In other words,
Yeah.
we got it. Okay.
I will try to be brief. The first one was what if this anti-immigrant and so on becomes even the leading one? This will be for me the name of the catastrophe, because I claim that my God, it's so sad that I don't have time to develop it, but this was a wonderful station. Why? Because you know how often in a political space, formally all possibilities are open, but de facto something cannot happen. And I claim that the way this new stability, is emerging, the whole point is that the anti-immigrant right should remain the second one. And this, I think, will be, I agree with you that this will probably happen, but this will be then a catastrophe. Or not even necessarily, you know what I mean, like the whole logic of the system will be that the extreme anti-immigrant right will be like kind of a spectre haunting the democratic pluralist majority. Now, already with Berlusconi, I admit it, this gets complicated, because Berlusconi is already, to put it in ironic Marxist terms, a dialectical synthesis of the two, no? He's at the same time pure liberal blah blah and elements of populism. So I think that this will be the crucial political moment. Maybe this will open a space for alliance of left and liberals. We can be optimists, but we can also be pessimists. All I'm saying is that this is something that in the inherent logic of the emerging system shouldn't have happened. In the logic which is remaining, which is in power now, the most that should happen is that these anti-immigrants are the second-rate partner in a coalition. For them to take over directly, it's a very risky situation where, again, it's truly, as Mao said, like, the heavens in disorders, but I wouldn't say the situation is excellent, I would say the situation is interesting. And you know, in China, I checked it up, they really have this proverb, when you really hate someone, you tell him, may you live in interesting times, because this is when. So, okay, the second one, institutions of democracy. No, all I dismiss, and even that I didn't dismiss it in the sense of let's abolish it. I mean, I'm not a complete idiot, that is to say. If you ask me, would you rather live in a multi-party democracy or in North Korea or even more civilized Stalinist state, there is no doubt about it. All I'm saying is that the existing state institutions of democracy are not enough, that another political dynamic is needed, and at the same time, I hope you will like this, I deeply agree with your point of institutions. I'm not a spontaneous. You know, let me remind you of something. Gramsci, we all pretend to like him. You know, in the 1920s, he was writing his texts. You know what was the name of the journal? Il Ordine Nuovo, the New Order. As you probably know better than me, immediately afterwards, this term was appropriated by the extreme right, where it's still firmly at its place. So if today you say Europe needs a new order, haha, no? But I think that maybe not the term, it's a strategic decision if the term can be saved. The tendency, it should be revived. I mean, I hate the left which likes these enthusiastic moments, oh, we were all dancing on the street and so on. What I like is the morning after, you know. We all can say, what do I mean by this, that I hate this kind of the left? Listen, show me one great right-winger today whose point of pride in his biography is not, of course, where was I when I was young? On 68, I was on barricades and so on and so on. This is part of the biography of every respectable left, right-winger today, no? So again, yes, I share this with you. I'm only saying that institutions, not just some wild democratic opinion pressure. The problem is to institutionalize this excess over the pure multi-party forum. Left, right, excellent question. Again, my God, I hate you. These questions are not enough stupid. You really don't think. I deeply agree with you, but my solution is here extremely dogmatic and simple. Listen, with all my sympathies for Palestinians, and I really mean, I nonetheless think I never accept the idea of, how should I put it, strategic alliance with anti-Semites, you know, this patronizing justification of it, saying like, you know, Palestinians were to such an extent screwed up by the Zionists that, you know, they don't really mean it, we should tolerate a little bit of, no, absolutely. I claim that it's a structural necessity that whenever, the moment, if there is something, and thereby maybe even answering a little bit your final question. For me, authentic left means you acknowledge the priority of social conflict, formally, in the sense of, and this is the zero level of anti-Semitism is to deny this. The basic operation of an anti-Semite is to say, no, our society is its inherent structure harmonious. We have conflicts, troubles because of that intruder from outside. And this is why I claim that whenever you find in the left even minimal traces of real anti-Semitism, it means that the left became, in the sense that I described earlier, a socialist left. This kind of organic left and so on and so on. And I include everyone here, including of Chavez. I think that from time to time he does a remark which points in that direction. Well, no wonder that his friends now are Mugabe, Ahmadinejad, Lukashenko, and so on. No? It's for me rather a deeper sign of problems with Venezuelan revolution. So again, for me, this is not a problem, and I'm absolutely radically opposed to it. I mean, this deadly logic of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Then you do, this is the formula of Stalin-Hitler pact and so on, no? Okay.